Use the mic right in front of you.
Robert Anderson again. I'm a small business owner in Jackson, also Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And what we do is train individuals to receive certification in allied health training and provide them with jobs. I would certainly welcome the support of the administration in assisting these individuals any way possible in receiving some type of scholarship, whereas they can afford the program. Because this is about jobs. It's the only thing it's about is jobs. If people are employed in our community, then businesses will come in and there is revenue where they'll be successful. So I would certainly try to work with the administration and certainly if they would support what we do. Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
First of all, I would like to go on the record stating specifically that I am against the format that you're actually using, because I don't think that the mayor deserves any more preference with his opinion and the city council. So what I'm saying is I think that you are wrong in directing questions to the city mayor and council, because all of us are running for the same office, and the mayor doesn't deserve any more preference.
That's right. Mr. Jones, I respect your comment, but the questions that are being asked by the audience are geared towards certain candidates. So we are taking, so at this part in the forum, we are taking questions from the audience, and the questions that we are asking are questions from the audience. These are not moderator developed questions, these are audience developed questions.
If you're going to be fair, why don't you let all of us get a chance to answer these questions?
Because we simply, sir, don't have that much time. We're going to move on to the next question.
Okay, the next question we have: how do you deal with declining tax revenues, but part of the budget you cut, but programs or services are essential and should never be cut with the city? We're going to direct that question to Mr. Ludeman.
I think that all services that have to do with economic planning and development are essential. I think that all services that have to do with youth and senior citizens are essential. I think that the economic development programs are the things that are going to give us the spark and move ahead so that we can increase our tax revenue. As long as we understand the purpose of stimulus, self-stimulus, by employing young people, getting contracts to young people, that helps to stimulate your economy. I think that as far as anything else in the budget is concerned, we can look at combining departments and things of that nature. But once we stimulate the economy, we won't have to cut things. We may need to reorganize things.
Mr. Bonson, would you like to respond to that question?
Back to what I said earlier, I believe that we should cut back on all these beautiful, fine trucks and automobiles that the city employees drive around in all day long. I think that, why not get a little Toyota if they have to do things that they don't need no police car, these F-150 trucks. We can cut back and still get the service done for the citizens of Jackson. I'm very conservative. I drive 100 myself. And I know a lot of these employees, they look a lot better than Frank Johnson driving around here, And I think that's what should be done.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Would you like to respond to that question?
Well, I don't think there are any sacred cows in the city's budget. We need to look at everything. And that's the whole way a budget is developed. You don't have a pet peeve over here that I'm not going to touch, or you don't have some civic center in West Jackson that I'm not going to touch. We would look at everything that's on the budget agenda and make some priority decisions. It's not to say that you're going to have water payment facilities here in Jackson. No, we need water payment facilities all over the city of Jackson. And those are the kinds of things that I'm talking about.
Okay, Mr. Smith, we're going to ask for you to respond. We haven't heard from you all night, and then the mayor's raising his hand.
I believe everything starts with the foundation, and the administration of the city of Jackson is the foundation. And I believe the city administration is top heavy. I believe the police department is top heavy. The fire department is top heavy. A lot of offices within the administration is top heavy. Mid-management, top heavy. We start cutting some of that out, then we can get some things done.
Ms. Quinn, and then the mayor.
I would agree with that as well. But in addition to that, I certainly believe that anytime we have projects, whether it be the convention center or any other project, that we need to assure ourselves that we are not paying more for professional services that is outside of the market rate. That's critically important. We've got to do away with some of the situation antics that we're using within the city of Jackson that is being discussed widely throughout the city and surrounding areas. We have got to be good stewards of the city's money. The cronyism needs to stop. We need to expand the tent and make sure that people that are applying for jobs, that are applying for projects, have an equal playing field. And this good old boy buddy system has got to end.
I'm not sure that the issue is cutting taxes or cutting services. I think the issue is being a good steward of the taxpayers' dollars, just like we've been doing for the last 4 years. Balancing the budget, not laying off anybody, not furloughing anybody. In the last 2 budget years, we've actually saved $2 billion more than we budgeted for. That's the kind of cost containment that needs to happen. We made sure that we set aside money in our reserve to pay for the $10 million bond issue that the city council just gave us to go ahead on. Those are the kinds of things that need to happen. You need to be good stewards, and also you need to make sure that you can manage money. That's extremely important. You need to be able to manage money in this particular position. And as we're in this recession, and as we come up with limited resources, money management becomes even more important.
Okay, and I will remind everyone that we're in the debate section of our forum, so there are questions that are directed towards candidates for the purpose of debate. Okay. Mr. Lee, Governor Bryant, I'm sorry. Right now we're switching to another question. We are in the debate section, and we're going to go ahead and go to another question. And again, the question is directed at particular candidates because we are in the debate section, so we will be going between selected candidates for the question because this is for the purpose of debate. Okay, Mr. Lee, Mr. Francis, Mr. Jones. We'll start with Mr. Lee. Governor Bryant, he has developed his economic plan for the state of Mississippi, and it is centered around increasing healthcare hospitals, growing that industry. Okay. He is looking at Jackson, Mississippi, and our healthcare corridor, growing that exponentially. How is it that you would look at that healthcare corridor and ensuring that that money, as that healthcare corridor grows, that money stays within the city of Jackson to help increase the tax base and benefit the citizens of Jackson? Starting with Mr. Lee, then Mr. Jones, and Mr. Francis. Sorry, Mr. Smith. So I'm with you, Mr. Lee, then Mr. Jones, then Mr. Smith.
Well, you know, I think it's a fantastic opportunity. Earlier we talked about making sure we lift up our assets and use the funds that we have to increase those assets, make those assets more valuable. Understanding that where we are right now is a major healthcare corridor, and that means investing in this neighborhood, investing in ways that we're helping raise the tide for the homeowners that currently live here in this neighborhood. Whether it's grants for homes or even businesses right here aimed at the people in this community. We have a lot of opportunities, I think, that are out there, and healthcare is certainly one of those things. We also have to make sure that we operate in a fashion that we're bringing the other assets together. We have 5 universities in this community, And we want to make sure they're at the table and that they're providing job training programs for the people in this community so that they can get to work in the healthcare corridor.
Mr. Jones.
Again, my name is John Jones, and yes, I cannot necessarily agree with everything that the governor has done in terms of the healthcare facilities in the city of Jackson here. I take issue with the fact that he has not expanded Medicare, because that would be a shot in the arm for the people in the Medicare system that are able to provide more services if the Medicare were expanded in the state of Mississippi. So therefore I can say that I disagree with some of the governor's issues concerning the medical corridor, but I definitely disagree with his non-extension of Medicare. And that would only hurt the medical facilities here in the city of Jackson.
I would like to say that we are going to have to take care of ourselves and not be dependent on anyone else. This is our city, and we're going to have to beautify our city. Everything that we need is right here in this city. Everything that we need, regardless what the governor does, regardless what the state does, the city of Jackson has the resources to make this city great. And if we use what we got, plant it where we need to plant it, rehabilitate, encourage one another, this could be another great city, regardless what Governor Bryan has done and is trying to do.
Okay, we're moving to a new question, and we want the candidates to be reminded that we are the moderators and we are not here to be in a debate with you. We are not here to allow you to change the rules. So we are asking questions, and we're choosing the candidates not based on their being mayor or not being mayor, but we are asking you to please cooperate with us. So in that, this question came from the audience and is directed to Mayor Johnson. Has the city invested any money in the Ferris Street project? If so, how much and what's the status of that money?
You know, there's a misconception that there's city money at play on Ferris Street. That is not true at all. The city has not invested a dime on Ferris Street except when we put infrastructure in, like the water, sewer, the street work, the landscape. All the work that has been done on Ferris Street in terms of the development for entertainment district comes from the state or from the private development. So we have invested no money on Ferris Street. We have encouraged the development of Ferris Street by getting a grant early on several years ago to make sure that there was infrastructure there and make sure that we had a pump ground in place to move this project forward. But the city has no money invested in it. Again, it's state money as well as private investment money.
Okay.
The city has invested, in other words, translate what the mayor just said, $3.5 million in infrastructure on the State Street project. State Street has been going on so long, it is absolutely absurd that we are still dealing with the same people. It is terrible. State Street is costing us time. Ferris Street, I'm sorry, Ferris Street. Ferris Street, it has cost us time, money, and resources that we can be gained in order to improve the entertainment district. So we have invested $3.5 million in the infrastructure of Ferris Street, and this is something that we should keep in mind. We need to change, take the money out of the hands, or take the project out of the hands of the people that have it now, put it in the hands of somebody who can get it done.
Okay. Looking at our time, I'm going to go ahead and ask this question for the audience, which may be a little controversial. I'm going to ask this question to Mayor Johnson, and everyone else will get a chance to rebuttal. after this question. Okay? Mayor Johnson, and this is a question from the audience. Why do Socrates Garrett and David Watkins get all the contracts under Mayor Harvey Johnson's administration? And each candidate will have a chance for rebuttal.
But you know, that's an impossibility for those two individuals to get all of the contracts. I don't know any contract that David Watkins has gotten under the Johnson administration. I'm proud of the contracts that Mr. Garrett and other minority contractors have gotten because of the program that I put in place in 1998. Since that time, we awarded nearly $100 million to contractors, not just Mr. Garrett, but other contractors throughout the city of Jackson, African-American contractors, Hispanic-owned businesses, Asian-owned businesses, women-owned businesses. So I'm proud of my record. I'm not going to back up because one individual gets a contract. Several individuals have gotten contracts in the city of Jackson, and indeed, Mr. Garrett does not get the largest amount of contracts of African-American contractors. I'm proud of my record. I'm going to stand on that record. We need more people standing up for African-American businesses.
All right, we're going to start for rebuttal. We'll start. Okay. And if you want to, we're going to start for rebuttal. If you choose to, start with Mr. Amos, working up to Mr. Smith. If you choose to rebuttal.
Well, you know, that's the mayor in charge of that, so I don't have anything to rebuttal.
Before respond.
Well, I would like to say, how do we to know what love is unless we understand what hate is? How do we know what's correct unless
Okay, please to the top of this, your opportunity to respond to the question that was also directed to the audience.
My bottom line is this. Sometimes we can learn from a person's mistake. Sometimes we really never know a person until you walk a mile in his shoes. So in understanding, looking at the incorrectness of an individual can cause us to be strong in the area and know what to move on.
Well, first of all, let me start by saying I don't think that there's any impropriety in the current administration as far as awarding contracts. So I'm not one of those that's being endorsed. What I do believe is that the bidding process should be open and fair to everyone, and also minority participation is greatly needed in the city of Jackson. So with that said, I think that the bidding process is relatively fair.
I don't have anything against minority businesses. I run one. And I am proud of what we've been able to do. I think the issue is when it's the same 2 or 3 minority businesses or the same 10 or 12 majority businesses that end up in all city contracts. Again, you know, it's almost as if this has turned into a debate where the thing should be, are you going to believe me or your lying eyes? There's a lot of things out there that are wrong that we have to address, and it starts with leadership.
I would say that what can do to improve the situation is that the council needs to be more involved at an earlier point in choosing people who will get these contracts. In other words, the council is 6 or 7 people who can help have input. Many times, the council does not become involved until after the first choices have already been made. All contracts are not bidding contracts. Many are for professional services, and there's no bidding done. Council needs to get involved because there's a lot of Socrates Garrett out there, and all of them need to be treated fairly and need to be involved in the process. I'm not charging anybody with any intentional mischief or anything like that, but what I am saying is that we need to broaden the base, and council's participation would help do this.
I just restate what I stated before, and that is we have to have a level playing field. Certainly we want to have minority businesses getting business within the city of Jackson. And we want to continue to do that. That's how we grow our economy. That's how we create jobs for our folks. But the question that really should be asked is, what's the percentage of contracts that these preferred gentlemen get that they apply for, that they seek out? It'd be interesting to know on the number of times that they've applied a soft ticket contracts, how many times they actually were provided. That is the preferred treatment type of situation for them, and that is certainly not what most people have when they're trying to do business with the city of Jackson. We need to include and have other people around the table, expand the tent, expand the table, and give others an opportunity to perform.
Okay, no, Mayor? Okay, we're going to move on to the next question then. And this question goes to Mr. Bryant, and this will be our final question before we wrap up. Mr. Bryant, what will you do to keep the Jackson police officers in Jackson and to make them feel comfortable staying in Jackson and to keep them from leaving? Is there a morale problem in the Jackson Police Department?
I was waiting for this, y'all. Now, I get 1 minute or more. All right, let me tell y'all something. I've been waiting for this because nothing about this has come up, but I'm telling y'all, there's no morale. The police are scared to do their job, people. I'm telling you straight right here, and I'm saying it in front of the mayor who's sitting right there, the upper command staff has got to change. There are some serious bullies on the command staff. I have seen a whole lot of things happen to some really good cops, and it happened to me one time. They actually got me as a sergeant now, and anybody who knows me, especially while I was a sergeant, I did my job. I cared about the people that worked for me. But I'm telling you right here, right now, the administration on the JPD has got to change. There's no way it can stay the same because the cops call me every day about the bullying that's going on. I will make sure. If I become the mayor, I guarantee you the chief's going to be just like me, honest, fair, and impartial.
Hold the mic up, and this will be, after this question, if there are any rebuttals, then we're going to move on to the closing remarks.
Well, I will tell you that I'm constantly in contact with people from the JPD. I attend cops meetings for Precinct 1. I attend cop meetings, and I know my Commander McGowan personally. And the only way that you can do that is become involved in the community. So I think that what we're doing is we should be paying our police a decent salary, and they are hired to do a job. They're not hired to be liked. They're not hired to actually kowtow to the administrator. They are hired to do a job. We need to allow them to do that job and hold them accountable.
Would any other candidates like to respond to that question?
Can I say something?
No, sir. Okay.
I think most of the candidates here have talked to many police officers, and I think it is true that we do, in fact, have a morale problem. And like I stated before, change starts with leadership. We need a new police chief, one that lives in the city of Jackson, one that's dedicated to bringing up the morale, understanding that there should be clear pathways for career advancement for police officers, one that gets down to the nitty-gritty when they understand the value not only for people who live next door to folks who used to benefit from them driving those cars home, but the officers who put their lives out there on the line. Bottom line is, I don't care how many officers we run through the training academy. It means nothing if we can't retain those officers. It means absolutely nothing. Thank you.
Certainly we do have a morale problem in the police department of the city of Jackson. And I would just simply say this. In order to have a turnaround, we need to have a turnover. And it starts with the mayor of the city of Jackson. I'm Virginia Quinn, and I'm running for mayor of the city of Jackson.
There's a microphone, Mr. Johnson, at the table. If you could pass that mic, please, that's Steve. That's the one I'm referring to. Somebody's chairs on the corridor.
have a morale problem in the city of Jackson. I want to cite one incident that a police officer back in my house told me. He told me that his friend was called in because somebody on the street had made a report of something that he had done. His friend was told by the chief, I don't believe in so-and-so words you're saying. And he asked the question, what are you doing? What are you doing? What shift are you doing? He says, from 7 to 3. He's asked the question, saying, I am working part-time from 6 to 10 with my part-time job. That the chief told her person who's in charge to do whatever she has to do, will put him on the 3 to 11 shift. And if you tell me that's not a morale problem, what can you? Now he's lost his overtime job. These kind of things that make the morale so low in the Jackson Police Department.
I would like to say something.
Concerning the question.
The question is, our policemen, they're very stressed out. I'm a yoga instructor. The thing about they need an outlet in terms of meditation and stress. When they carry the stress to the home, they are out on the street dealing with, they don't know who's going to do what to them. So in terms of those things, our fire department, the people who work at police signs, they need stress management. They need an evaluation to make sure that they're okay mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Great, thank you. Ms. Lamombo, have a rebuttal. 1 minute, please.
In my view, one of the problems that we have in the police department is the use of the police many times as a political tool. In other words, what we do, we get complaints about crime. Instead of organizing the police so they'll be most effective against serious crime, we go out and we arrest a bunch of people for parking tickets and speeding tickets and other things, put on a show that this looks like real law enforcement. I think that we need to be more careful to focus on serious crime and to make sure that we can do that appropriately. And I think that will help the morale of the police department.
I'd like to make 2 points. First of all, crime is down. If morale is low, crime will not be down. Statistics indicating that property crime is down by 17%. Violent crime is even down compared to last year. So crime is down. Now, in terms of the police chief, she was hired to make sure that you are protected, make sure that you're served properly. She's done a great job in doing that. Crime is down in the city of Jackson. She's redeploying resources. You see more police officers in your neighborhood. Some of you have even told me you see officers coming by with blue lights on in your neighborhood. There's more police visibility out there. The chief has done a great job in leading the department and reducing crime. Is that what you want? Or are you speaking of politics? Do you want to make chief a political toy? I know of another police chief for Jackson that stayed in Clinton. Nobody mentioned that. It's because this is a black female that we're jumping on the bandwagon for her right now. She's doing a great job.
Okay, that's the end of our debate questions. I would ask anyone from the forum committee if there are any closing announcements, if we could have them at this time before closing statements.
I want to, all of us, let's give all of our candidates a wonderful applause. Thank you for willing to serve. And on behalf of Women for Progress, I want to recognize all the members of Women for Progress and our volunteers who volunteered for the program. If you'll just stand, please. Let's give them a hand. And we have a few other volunteers that had to leave, but thank you for your support. And I thank you, each of us as citizens of Jackson for being here tonight. Thank you for being engaged. Let's give ourselves an applause. We hope you go away tonight with great information that's going to help you empower yourselves on May 7th. Thank you. Oh, and just one more thing. Make sure that you turn in all your ballots. We have We have a box at the table up front.
Audience, please don't leave. We're going to allow 1 minute for each candidate to make a closing statement. And this closing statement is important because it's going to give the impression that you have of each candidate when you leave here. And in those closing statements, we want the candidates to address at least this question: why they believe they are the best candidate to lead the city and how that translates into improving the quality of life of the citizens of Jackson. We're going to give you 1 minute, and we're going to ask Mayor Harvey Johnson, the Honorable Mayor Johnson, the incumbent, to be the last to speak. Thank you. Before you start the closing statements, I just received an announcement to the committee, the moderators wants to give 2 minutes. I apologize. You will have 2 minutes for your closing statements. Thank you, moderators. The president wants to also recognize other sororities that are here other than AKA and Delta.
I'm sorry, we wanted to recognize also all the members and the volunteers for the Beta Delta Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority and the Jackson alumni chapter of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority. So will you stand, please? Let's give them applause. This has been a great partnership, and Women for Progress is very, very proud, and it will not stop here. Look for this coalition to continue in the future. Thank you.
Who has the mic? Okay. Well, since we started from left to right in the opening introductory remarks, we'll start from...
To the moderator, there seems to be some controversy here about me going last. I don't mind going first. I've been talking all night, so let's give these fine people another
Well, Mayor, we were taught that the incumbent always has an opportunity to speak last, so we're going to keep with that, and we're going to start here with Mr. Francis Smith, 2 minutes for closing statements. Thank you, Mayor.
On May 7th, we're going to have a choice to vote for one of the 9 candidates that are up here. That's not my race. My race is June 4th. I will not be on the May 7th ballot. But what I want you to understand, whoever comes out of that gate has to come see me. I haven't said everything. I've been very reserved. But I will tell you all this. With some of the conduct that has gone on tonight, that's not what you want in the mayor's seat. We deserve better than that. Throwing stones, the Bible says, he without sin cast the first stone. I don't think we should be beating on the incumbent. I don't think the incumbent should retaliate on the runners. I will say this. I don't care nothing about your degrees. I don't care nothing about your experience. I don't care nothing about your platform. If God is not in it, you're not going to win it.
Good evening again. Once again, I would like to thank the organizers of this forum. This is critically important for the city of Jackson. And I think it's incumbent on all of us to look at what's been transpiring over the number of, not just 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, but 16 years. We don't have one problem in the city of Jackson that we didn't have back in 1997 when the first comprehensive infrastructure plan was done. 1997 hadn't been one since. We had the federal government that had to come in and tell us to take care of the sewer in the city. It is not a good thing that we have to try to create economic development by letting the city infrastructure get to such a decay that we have to have outsiders come in and tell us to handle our own business. And Mayor, I will tell you this. I'm not going to let you shame me into doing what the law allows in filing for bankruptcy. I'm just not going to allow that, because I tell you this, and as a Christian, you ought to know. And this is one thing that I am certainly sure of. We all have fallen down in one aspect or another in our lives. I've turned my economic life around. I've turned it in a new direction. That's exactly what the city of Jackson needs. We got a $1 billion infrastructure problem. We got crime control. You can play with those numbers all you want. It is what it is. It is what it is. We need to get this system on track. We got to deal with the crime problem in the city. We got to deal with the educational problem. I'm asking you, yes, it is time for a change. And I'm that change agent. I know something about that. I know something about facing tough challenges and moving forward. And it's a lesson for our children. Thank you.
I want to refer people as I do my closing to our internet site, our website, electedtomoveamayor.com, and check out the People's Platform. God is in our platform. And it was a platform that was written years ago and one which we've improved since then. I want to point out that being in office for 12 years as a mayor certainly can make you a better politician. But it doesn't necessarily make you a leader, right? It doesn't necessarily make you a better leader. How we got to judge that is what you have laid, what you have accomplished. It is important that we get new leadership at this time because we need a new change. Insanity is the repetition of the same thing at many times and expecting a different result. We cannot get that result. It is time that we move on. Mayor Johnson has had his back at the plate. Time for the next batter up. This is what it is. I'm running as mayor. I want you to elect me mayor because I'm a person who has proven leadership. I have led out of political office and I have led in political office. You know what you get when you get choked with. You know you're going to get seriousness. You know you're going to get commitment. You know you're going to get love for the people. You know you're going to get strength. You know you're going to get courage. You know I will go there. I will build the ship, fight for the ship. And when you look at Lumumba, you look at the people I've represented, you can see the successes that we have. And you are looking at the next successful mayor and the next successful city. The city. We're going to move Mississippi right here from Jackson, from worst to first. That's what we're going to do.
I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to come and share just a little bit about our vision and our ideas for the city of Jackson. Again, my name is Jonathan Lee, and I am running as a Democrat for mayor. And I want to address that. I am a Democrat, and my voting record does speak for itself. In fact, I do believe I saw the mayor at the last Hinds County Democratic Caucus meeting where I represented on the precinct. But you know what? That's not so much really the issue. The issue, again, is what I said earlier. This is about what hasn't been done. And quite frankly, there are a whole lot of things that haven't been done. So we're going to focus on what we call those core issues. C-O-R-E. Crime, opportunities for employment, rebuilding the infrastructure, and of course, education. If you're going to take credit, you better be ready to take the heat when things don't work out so well. You know, we talked about our roads budget earlier, and I mentioned the fact that we have a little over $4 million in our roads budget, and I was corrected to say that we have $25 million of money being spent on roads. That may be true. That's because we're mortgaging the house to put in carpet. That is a complete and utter mistake on behalf of this administration. He said so himself. We've got to take notice on how this city is being run. It's time for routine maintenance. It's time for a housekeeping. It's time for a cleaning out of the old way, especially when it has proven time and time again to be completely ineffective. So I ask that you go and look at the solutions that we propose for our campaign. JonathanLeeForJackson.com. I pray that you'll judge us on the solutions, not the rhetoric, because we have heard about rhetoric tonight. But I want to make sure you go out and learn for yourself. This is an important business. This is our city, and at the end of the day, these potholes and these flooded streets don't have no party affiliation. Thank you very much.
I am John H. Jones, and I'm a candidate for mayor on May 7th as a Democratic candidate for mayor of the city of Jackson. I'm an educator, I'm a professional administrator, and I'm a technologist. I will use my expertise in technology to move the city to a better place. We need to improve the city. We don't need it to become one of those Rust Belt cities of the Northeast. Jackson has time to be saved. We need leadership for the 21st century. We can't continue with the status quo. We need somebody that knows something other than the colloquial politics of Mississippi. I have worldwide experience. I have worldwide exposure. I've seen some things that would allow me to make a difference in the way the city is born, to make a difference in the way we do things, everything from small business development to tax incentives for people to move into the city of Jackson. Those are the kinds of things that we need to be moving forward with in the city of Jackson. Jackson needs to be moving forward in leaps and bounds and not tied to the status quo of failed policies in the past. Thank you.
Jackson has been through pain. It has been through pleasure. But the most important thing, Jackson has progress. It is time for us to let's take this change and move this change to a wonder. To build and maintain a strong economic foundation for love and unity. To create self-determination, collective work, and just, I get emotional. In other words, it's time for Jackson to change. It's time for us to pull together as one. It's time to see what this cannabis plant does. I have a board right over there. All the things that can be made out of it, from the medicine, from everything, from the fabric, from the plastic for building things.
It's Canada.
Wrap it up, say it.
Just keep on the closing remarks, not the end comments.
So to sum this up, I submitted with the state Secretary of State to put this cannabis hemp plant on the ballot to help bring a strong economic to this city, to help bring industry, thousands of jobs. So on your internet, don't take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. The United States of America are buying these products from China, and then it's illegal here in some states. But we need to come together and build a strong economic, a cooperative, and stand on a strong foundation. Or unless we're going to be going in circles, and we're going to deteriorate. So May 7th, my name is the longest name on the list. That's because I'm family. And I would like you to vote me as your next mayor for the city of Jackson. I thank you.
Well, I'm William Bright, and I'm going to tell y'all, I resigned my position as a police sergeant just to run for the city of Jackson, because in the over 13 years that I worked as a police officer, all the people that got to know me, they were telling me to run. Plus, I know what the city's hurting for. And I know what I'm available for you to do. I'm not running for me. I'm running this campaign for all of y'all. I want to do the greater good for the most people. And I just knew, along with my wife who's here tonight, she's always told me that there was so much more that I could do for this city. I believe that we have a whole lot of good people sitting up here. And like I said in the other forum, if we could take something from each person sitting up here tonight, there's your mayor right there. You know, we don't have to be enemies while we're running for this position. This is something that we have to do together. So I actually gave up my position just to run for this position because I cared enough and saw enough wrong that it needs to happen that way. And on May 7th, if you feel like that I'm the one that you really want, and I can be and will be, then I expect to get your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the Women for Progress, the two sororities, and all that made this possible for tonight. I've heard a lot of talk about change, but I haven't heard any solutions. My change would be this. the power lies in the office of the mayor in the city of Jackson. I've been on the city council for 8 years. Council get out here and campaign, talking about what all they can do and all that. That's a bunch of, you can't do anything unless you get the mayor to do it. That's why I propose making the president of the city council under my administration being the mayor pro tem. Also, let all city council people have access to each department head so they can get things done in that ward. That's common sense. The more the council can wake up and clean up their wards and burn structures and all that, the better the whole city gonna look. And who's gonna get the credit when the whole city looks good? The mayor. So why should I sit on and hold it to myself and don't let the city council work? I can assure you, you wouldn't have to call 311 in my administration because the city council person would be right there to answer and to do the things that you need to have done in your ward. Thank you very much.
I am Robert Amos, candidate for mayor. One thing I want to say is I truly understand politics, and I didn't come here tonight for rhetoric. I didn't come here for sound bites. I didn't come here for sensationalism, as they say. I came here to mark Robert Amos. I've been involved in education, finances, and also small business owners. That's what I'm involved in. I understand you guys are a great group of educated folk, and you can understand the difference of rhetoric, and you can understand the difference of sound bites. I talk to dozens of folk each and every week, and I say, how are you valued as an individual? How are you valued? You're valued on your ability to solve problems. As I go to each one of these debates, I don't have a script. I'm not reading off anything. I want you to judge me on my ability to solve problems. You take theory and experience and put them together. When I answer the question, I say, this is what we're going to do. We're not talking about theories. This is what we're going to do. My ability to solve problems. When a candidate is asked a question, think about, are there any specifics? This is how we're going to move this city forward. Are there any specifics? This is how we're going to move this city forward. So again, on May 7th, Robert Amos. I want you to judge me on my ability tonight and answering questions and my ability to solve problems. Thank you.
I too would like to thank Deltas and AKAs and Women for Progress for putting this on. Thank all of you for staying here tonight and enduring this forum. You are really interested in what's going on, and I appreciate that. There's been a lot of talk about what hasn't been done by the incumbent and going back 12 years, 16 years, or what have you. And I really want my record to speak for itself. If you look at any major development in this city over the last 20 years, I either started it or I completed it. You think about it. Don't listen to all the rhetoric and all that. You think about how far this city has moved since 1997. When I was elected as the first African-American mayor. When Mayor Jackson told me there's going to be high anxiety in the white community and high expectations in the black community. And I've traveled that road. And we made progress here in the city of Jackson. We have fixed our infrastructure. We spent over $200 million on fixing infrastructure here in the city of Jackson. I'm ready to lead in 2013 as I was ready to lead in 1997 and in 2009. You have to be ready for this office. You're not ready for this office if you're a Democrat one day and a Republican the next. You're not ready for this office if you're not a good money manager. You're not ready for this office for the only reason you're running because you're ticked off at somebody. That's not ready. Being ready is making sure that you have the interests of the people at heart and you prepare yourself to run for this office. Not to get up here and talk and not to rebut. And as Mr. Amos said, sound bites and all of that. You have to be prepared. So look at those candidates, all of us, and I guarantee you, you're going to select Harvey Johnson as the best prepared candidate. And I'm asking for your vote again for the 4th time on May 7th in the Democratic primary. God bless you.
Thank you, candidates, for your closing statements. And we are going to end in prayer. We have Reverend Shirley Harrington Watson. She is a political trailblazer herself as the first black to win in 1981 a Democratic citywide plenary for city commissioner that helped bring change to the ward system. So without further ado, Reverend Watson, and we wish you Godspeed on your return home. Thank you so much for coming out.
I never thought I would see the day. You have made my heart burn with joy just to see the freedom of our people and to see the diversity in the number of career paths that have brought you to this point. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask that you stand, that you join hands, and I want you to come up in solidarity now. I know you all came here with different candidates. You came here with some ideas of who you may would vote for. But right now, I want you to become one Jackson. One Jackson. One Jackson. One Jackson. Let us approach the throne of grace. Oh God, you are so magnificent. You're all power. You are omnipresent. And we thank you for showing up here tonight. You are giving us the opportunity to increase our awareness and our knowledge. God, we know that Jackson may not be all that it could be, but we thank you for the trailblazing past that has brought us to our presence. We thank you for the shoulders that we stand on. We thank you for the people who gave their lives just to go and register and vote. We thank you for those who were strong enough to say, I am a citizen and it doesn't make any difference what's the color of my skin. God, we thank you for having the wisdom and the understanding to not take our right to vote for granted. Now, God, you know our hearts. You know the heart of every person that's represented here. You know every candidate that has gave a platform tonight. And we asking you for divine intervention. We asking you to guide our thoughts, guide our actions, and guide our deeds. Let everything that has been said be blessed according to your will. Let every proposal that is being planned for Jackson be building up to your people and your kingdom. And most important, as we let others see Jackson, as we let others see us in Mississippi, let them see progress. Let them see togetherness. Let them see a people that is proud of their past, but more determined to be proud of their future. Bring us together as one city, where we will not be ashamed to say that we are your children. In the name of Jesus, we pray. And say with me,